So the people that don't know me, my name is Udi Gat. I'm a member of Kibbutz Ketura for the last 30 or more years. And I'm in the last 13 years, I'm the chairman, the mayor of the Regional Council of Eilot. Eilot is a regional council that spread over 13% of the land of Israel. We are only maybe 4,000 people residents that are 4,200 residents that are living over here in 12 villages. 10 of them are kibbutzim. I don't know how you became a volunteer in Kibbutz Yahel, but if volunteering in Kibbutz Yahel pushed you up to be a successful ambassador in Israel, we are the next. We can give you the next push. I heard Hillary Clinton is looking for, the State Department the next period of elections in the States. Like I said, we are 10 kibbutzim in 2 villages. The kibbutzim are spread between Eilat and you pass through Kushi in the 100 kilometers near the border. We have 200 kilometers of border, 100 with Egypt and 100 with Jordan. Now it's quiet. It wasn't quiet all the times, but now it's quiet, especially in Jordan, with the Jordanians are doing a lot to the border to be quiet. Okay, they want it to be quiet. We are an agriculture area, not like the agriculture area that you saw yesterday in the Arava Center, because we have salty water over here and we can't grow everything that they can grow over there. That's why our agriculture is specialized in date trees all over the Arava Valley. You'll be able to see the date trees, and we also, all the kibbutzim have cows for milk. All the milk goes to Yotvata, to Kibbutz Yotvata. There's a dairy over there, and they're selling all over, also in your family, of course. And we decided after 55 years since the first Kibbutz Yotvata was established, we decided in the last 4 years that we need something else in the area to bring more people to the region. Because agriculture, tourism, I know you stayed here some days, half a year ago, something like that, tourism, agriculture, even a small industry like we have in Kibbutz Ketura, algae or the dairy and so on, it's not enough to bring youth. My daughter, she's now 24 years old, or other children of ours, are not coming back like in the Arava Center to work in the agriculture. So we decided to look for something else, and we found it. I was 4.5 years ago, I was in a very big convention in the United States, in the UN, and I found over there that all the world is looking what we have free here. Land and sun, not today, but always we have it. And we realized that we can do with those 2 things and 2 other things, like people that are minded for green, people that are minded to the area, for environment and so on, and infrastructure that we have in the area. Because in Sahara, you have also sun and also land, but you don't have people and you don't have infrastructure. That's what we have over here. And we decided to open a department in the council, in the regional council, that we called it the Renewable Energy Department. And I gave the people that are managing it, I said them, bring the area to be the Silicon Valley for renewable energy. So everybody in the world will know that here in the region, Eilat and Eilot, especially in Eilot, is the center for all you need and you want to do on the renewable energy issues. It's not only sun issues, it's also wind, it's also everything. That's why we decided to do education program in schools. That's why we are opening a class or a department in Ben Gurion University in Eilat to first grade for renewable energy. That's what we decided to do. Tourism, like you do today, we bring groups to see the parts that we join together to be a tourism tour, a tour for tourists about renewable energy. That's why we are doing tests. That's why we are doing an incubator that Avi Feldman will explain later. Everything. We want to be the center for producing what Israel must do. Is not 10% like he decided in 2020. We needed 20% to be done over here, and we are the best place to do it. It's the department, the people, Yossi, John, and all the people. This is why the first place and the only place till now is a field to produce energies in Kibbutz Ketura in the region. This is why the incubator in Capital Nature, the government decided to do it here in the Arava Valley. This is why everything that I told you is joined together to be the Silicon Valley for renewable energy. Because we believe that if we will be the Sun Valley for renewable energy, people, youth, especially youth, will come to live over here in the kibbutzim to work. We already 2 months ago I made a meeting of all the people that are working in renewable energy projects in the region. We sat in one room, like 70 people, private region council people and so on, and 70 people that came to work in the renewable energy projects in the region. It's like 100,000 in Tel Aviv or something. Because it's nothing for Bat Yam or for Holon to bring 70 families over here. It's a lot for us, and it means us a lot. So now we have agriculture and a little bit of industry and a little bit of tourism and a lot of renewable energy and passion to do more and more. And I'm glad that you are coming to see it, and I'm glad you will be able somehow in the future to be part of. I want you, like I said yesterday, to come to visit Yahel. Like it's your basic, you know, it's your roots over here. So come again. We want in 20 years to double our numbers in the region. This is our goal. And if we'll be able to do it, we'll be able to do a lot not only for the people in the region. For people in Israel, we believe we are part of the ideology situations that Israel needs. Because like Russell Robinson said yesterday, we are the real soldiers of the border. Because the border, you can't bring tanks to here to keep it quiet. You have to bring people to keep it quiet. That's why we are living here, that's why we live here, and that's why we want more people to come. That's all.
Wait, hold on. What year were you a volunteer at Yahel?
1987.
Jonathan Cohen, John. I'm the CEO of the Arava Power company. I spent 30 years of my life as a member of Kibbutz Yahel. I don't remember we met there, but I'm sure that
Probably we did.
if I knew you would have become the ambassador, I would have.
More attention, yeah.
I've been with the Arava Power company since early 2007, when Yosef drove us and the world mad with his vision. And it's been quite a ride, and we'll show you a bit of that ride today.
Let me just say one word, which is, first of all, thank you, Udi, and thank you, Yossi, and everybody for spending a little time with me today. We in the U.S. government are extremely interested in opportunities in renewable energy and environmental research. And we know that some of the most innovative and exciting developments in those fields in Israel are happening here in the Arava. So yesterday I spent some time a little bit north of here looking at the agricultural side of the picture. Today it's much more focused on the renewable energy side. And we're pleased that we have partners here. Obviously the Arava Institute is a partner that we've been very proud to support, and not only supporting its environmental research and all of the innovation that comes out of that, but also the connections it builds between Israelis and Jordanians and Palestinians and others, and we think that's something we're very proud of. Arava Power Company, goes without saying, is at the cutting edge of an exciting field, and And again, through our Overseas Private Investment Corporation, we are now partners in that effort. And we're very excited to see the next stage.
Abed Al-Sayed.
Okay, בוא נשים ביחד. Tarabin is the leader of the Tarabin village. He's a community leader in Abu Basma as well. He is really the pioneer in solar power in the Bedouin sector. And his field is the first Bedouin field to have been signed. The first Bedouin field for the land he's the first piece of land in the state of Israel to be rezoned from agricultural to solar, which is important. He was the first Bedouin to receive a license, and he was the first Bedouin to have injustice done to him and not get final approval, and we're here to correct that. We appreciate the administration's support that there should be justice in solar power. So these are our key partners.
Our mission is to be the premier academic and research institute in environmental studies and to train future Arab and Jewish leaders. We have an academic program. We have a semester option for undergrads. We have a master's program, joint masters with Ben Gurion University at the Stable Care campus. Ara mentioned that he's receiving his master's, which he's defending next week, and he'll have it. Good luck. We have had numerous Jordanian, Palestinian, Israeli students who've done the joint master's program. We have now a Jordanian student who has finished his doctorate at Ben Gurion University, Amr Sweety. We're rather proud of him. We're now working on a joint master's program with York University in renewable energy, which we're hoping on getting together by perhaps the fall. Student breakdown. We try to bring about a third Arab-speaking students, a third Israelis, and a third U.S. or international students. We have in general between 30 and 40 students. We have recently built dorms that will enable us to have 60 students, which is presently our goal. After we started the program, we soon realized that it wasn't enough to simply bring students from Israel, from Jordan, Palestine, and have them study environmental studies and everything would be just fine. We are in the Middle East. The geopolitical situation, nevertheless, is very, very challenging and difficult. We set up a program called the Peace and Environment Leadership Seminar, which I also want to mention. We received very generous support from the State Department through the Public Affairs Office. I'll mention several programs that we received U.S. support from. And we bring them together to try to deal with the issues, to be able to talk to each other, understanding that they're not necessarily, we're not going to agree with each other, but even within the tense situation, their ability to talk about the issues and go back to their rooms, to the dorms where they live together. It's something very unusual in Israel. And there's been situations, for example, when the Gaza war in 2009, where it was extremely difficult. I tell the story because my son was in the Gaza Strip. He was in the Army unit at the time. I was very concerned about him. Our students in general were identified with the civilian population in the Gaza Strip. And the head of our Center for Renewable Energy, Dr. Tariq Abu Hamed, who is a Palestinian from East Jerusalem, was very involved also at that time with that. And after it was over, I kind of asked Tariq, so what did we learn from that? And he said, he thinks that the students, the Arab students, for example, understood that the soldiers they see on CNN, the Israeli soldiers, could be Uri's son that they had a drink with at the local pub. And maybe, he said, at least in the Arava Institute, maybe in the kibbutz, we understood that there was a tremendous amount of suffering on the civilian side in that situation. Research, transboundary research. I want to first mention Merck, the Middle East region, because we've been working with them for, I think, since 2002. We've had 5 or 6 projects through Merck. We work with Morocco, Jordan, Palestinian Authority in a variety of fields. They've been very, very instrumental in helping us do this kind of research. We have received also support. We have step back. We have a Center for Transboundary Water Management. Right now we have a large project with USAID West Bank Gaza. which is a conflict mitigation project, even though it's within the framework of a research institute. We're also supported in that particular department by the EU, by JNF is supporting some work we're doing with water. And again, partners in Jordan, partners in the Palestinian Authority, in those kind of projects, water is a particularly difficult issue in the Middle East, but not just. So we have an EU project with Spain and Portugal where they have transboundary water issues. So it's not just here. We have a Center for Sustainable Agriculture. When we walk down for the tour, we're going to see a date tree from, you've been here before also for a visit on private visit, so you've probably seen it. But I did want to mention it. We've done a lot of work also. Udi mentioned the issues of saline water and poor quality soil. We do research into the kind of plants that can thrive here. We do that with our Jordanian partners. Also research in the plants that are likely to disappear and try to do it, medicinal plants. The Center for Renewable Energy Conservation. Barak will be doing a tour of the validation center, and he'll talk a little bit about his research, but it ties into also the vision that Udi has for the region. We've been doing a lot of research in a variety of aspects of it. Very interesting, some of it very cutting edge. Again, run by Dr. Tarek Al-Buhamid, who wasn't here today. It would have been great if you could meet him. Also, we have a Merck project with them with biogas. I just want to mention it ties in. We've discovered a connection between the Center for Transboundary Water Management and Renewable Energy in solutions for communities off the grid, off the water grid, the sewage grid, and the electricity grid. They call it the nexus between renewable energy and water. We have solutions that we think are beyond our community, Israel, the Middle East, possibly the world. We're looking at that. There are low-tech solutions that are, it's pretty exciting. We have a Center for Long-Term Ecological Research. Also, we're about to start a Merck project with Jordanian partners on ecosystems. In addition, we have a center that's called the Arava Center for Sustainable Development that we are in partnership with the Dead Sea Arava Science Center and the local R&D Center. We are a branch of Mashav of the Israeli Foreign Ministry doing courses here for people all over the world. And we have a project in Kenya, in Turkana, trying to find solutions for people there using the knowledge that we've gained in the Institute, in the R&D Center here, the Agricultural R&D, and in the Dead Sea Science Center. And last but surely not least, we have an extensive alumni program. We built an alumni network. Hannah, who is here with Arava Power, is one of our alumni, for example. We have conferences, and one of our projects is to encourage the alumni to continue working what they've learned here. It's the Youth Environmental Education Peace Initiative, supported again by the State Department, where we're working with high schools. So what we're doing with our students here, we're trying them to do with high school students. And we had an event very recently with 30 students from Cholona, from Lud, and Will Zendler, who is the the State Department World Grant Officer, was here. It was pretty extraordinary to see those people together. In a nutshell, that's what we're about, the Arava Institute. Okay.
Israel is the second-ranked area for innovation in renewable energy, second to the US. So I think if you're combining the two, then we have a big sphere of to work with. I want to start at the initiation of the whole effort in this area started from a governmental policy back in 2007-8. I was then back at the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Labor. And we try in a way to synchronize between the technological part, the technological effort within clean tech and renewable energies, and regional development. And that's how we came into clean tech as an engine for regional development. The government created a program in which Capital Nature, the company that you'll hear in a second, was bidding on using funds in that area, and we won that bid, and we own and operate the technological center for renewable energy here in Yotvata, in the building you saw on the way. The vision is to create here a big research center, research and venture that new companies, new startup companies that do work here. And we do basically three things. We do cooperation with academic institutions in order to advance applied research, and we are the industrial partner for that cooperation. The main focus is creating new ventures, and we are kind of a venture capital incubator for new startups. And the third thing is the test site. Shikonu Binui is using the land that we've got from the government, and we moved our test site a little bit to the south in the area when you crossed, and there new facilities will rise, and you've seen the first one. The total budget for that program is $30 million. It will cover roughly between 20 to 25 new ventures in a period of time of 3 to 5 years. This is, as I said before, it's a joint venture between the government and the business sector. And in a few seconds, I'll show you the industrial and private sector companies that are our partners. We look for new technologies and those that we think that between 2 to 3 years will be ready to go to market, to start in the market. A company or a project can reach us both in the very initial stage of just getting out of academy, or entrepreneurs that are seeking funds, or already established company that wants to test its product on site. This is our partners. We have, as you can see, 3 leading strong international Israeli-based companies. One of them is within the area, Omat, and the other 2 are more or less in military equipment, but also in other areas. We have financial investors, and we have academy, and you can see the Arava Institute and the Ben-Gurion University as part, and the Eilat Eilot Renewable Initiative. All of them are part of the group. We are part of what's happening here in the region, and when we bid for the government program, we stated that we want to be here as part of the vision that Udi just presented, that it's a Sun Valley here, and we'll have the whole range of activities from basic research through R&D, through us, and commercial facilities as well. And you'll be in the APC later on, and you can see that there is a whole chain of activity as a regional. This is the segmentation of the project that we saw until today. More than 350 projects, more than 120 just from academia. You can see that half of it is in the energy production, right? And you can see that a lot of it is in solar. This is the effort that was in Israel in the previous years. 15-20 years was mostly in solar, so we have a lot of solar initiatives. Now it's a little bit coming down because of what's happening in the solar industry worldwide in terms of prices. So we got more of others like wind bio. And we have the complementary of green energy, which is efficiency, mostly in buildings, in industry, storage, and smart grid, a little bit of electric vehicle too. Until now, we have 3 operating companies, ventures within our center. We have one more which is pending to the approval of the Office of the Chief Scientist, and we have 4 academic applied research that are working with us. The first one, just to give you a little bit of taste of what's happening. The first one is trying to manipulate the solar cell itself. As you know, the solar cell efficiency is very limited. Only theoretically, it's only 30%. That's the highest efficiency of the sun radiation, and this is due to that the silicon can catch only portion of the band of radiation. What this company does is try to manipulate the radiation and compress it into the zone that the silicon cell can catch. So you can get double and even more of the efficiency that will be catched by the panel. This will be this efficiency will ultimately be in terms of reducing the cost of producing the solar energy. The second one is also in the solar industry, but it's capital equipment. Today, roughly around 40% of the whole panel is the silicon, the material. And when you cut the silicon, it comes in ingot. When you cut it, you do it mechanically, and you waste something like 50% of the material is wasted just by slicing it mechanically. What they come up with is a different technology that ultimately there is no curve, and you save all the materials for the panel. So in that way, you can reduce roughly around 20% of the extra 20% of the cost of the panel. Yeah. The third one goes to wind turbines. The problem with wind energy is that the production of wind energy is mainly at night or at dawn. That's when the winds are at their highest. And the peak hours is noon, afternoon. So you need something to shift the energy and use it when there is a demand within the grid. What they do is they take the wind, storage it, compress it and storage it, and at noon with solar panels, it's a solar tower, you release the compressed air and you boost it through the solar using the same turbine, so you can get the same energy that you had at night, but during the day, so you can enjoy it in peak hours and get the best of the price. In terms of academic research, as I said, we have 4 technologies already working with us. One of them is already in a venture, not in applied research. And we have, with all academic institutions, we have called for proposals that we try to meet and get engaged with all the researchers that are involved in that area. As I said, we have here a test site. We have already 10 projects that are in our test site. We have a small test site in Ketura, just near the Arava Institute. You've seen few of the facilities there, and we had the rest of them will come to here to the new test site. And we are now establishing cooperation with the Israeli Standard Institute, and will establish here a lab, a PV lab, that will certificate all product to the international standards in the PV, both the American standard and the European standard. We hope to finish that this year, 2013, with 8 new projects. This is very demanding to bring to that area 8 new ventures, entrepreneurs, and the workforce that is involved with them. And I want just to end this very short introduction by giving you some kind of a homework to further develop the cooperation between Israel and United States in that area. We have today working the Bird Foundation, that and within the Bird Foundation, as you probably know, there is energy initiative, and here's the but. The Bird Foundation, and parallel to that, there is also academic cooperation, and there is industry-to-industry cooperation. But there is no cross-cooperation. Meaning, if I have a good project, and I have some of them that are looking for expert support and facilities to work with, and I know that there exist within labs in the US, such as the Aragon or NRL or others. There is no program that can support that in terms of financial support of that cooperation. Like,
it's not
because it's not
state.
Industrial to industry to industry.
Yeah.
So we have academia to academia, we have industry to industry, but we don't have the cross. So this is something that I think very easily could be elaborating the mandates of the existing programs just to support that. The second one is trying to be a little bit creative and using the money that we government enforce industry through buybacks. When Israeli companies sell to the US or vice versa, they are obligated to buybacks. We can use those buybacks and give them some kind of incentive to invest or to purchase within the renewable energy area. We can give them some kind of a bonus or a premium on investing in that area. For example, if Boeing is selling to Israel and you want to leverage that, you'll say, okay, instead of buying whatever you will buy anyhow, we'll give you a premium of 150% instead of 100%, just the regular calculation. Go get something or invest in something in the renewable energy, and vice versa, the same in the States. So you can use money that will already be spent in order to invest it in an area that both governments are very interested in. So
So does that require an adjustment in our rules?
in your rules, in our rules, just to give advantage, it's a signal to the market.
Yeah.
Go to the renewable energy or go to the clean tech sector, and you'll get a preferred rate for buybacks. It's very it's a simple rule. Yeah, and if it's something that the governments are stating that it's a preferred area of activity, then do something to show that it's preferable.
That's a good idea. I'm not certain exactly the technicalities or even who the decision makers are in Washington on it, but something we can explore. And I'm interested in seeing if we can talk to the Bird Foundation about a little bit more flexibility in those partnerships.
Okay.
As you know, there's a separate bird energy
I know.
element, and so maybe we should start by focusing it there.
I'll be glad, and we already have projects that are suited for that scheme.
By what using water. Since this site is test site and we don't produce any electricity, just test efficiency of the collector, we damp the heat using this big blue radiator. And we return the oil back to the
Irony? No.
Not here.
I'm blaming America.
most people blame
Gentlemen,
Okay. All right. We're going to do it anyway.
Let's do it.
We're going to turn off our telephone.
יריב,
אני אחזור עליך, אני עומד בגשם עם השגריר בשדה.
אבידה, קח את המטריה.
This is not the weather to go into detail on history, okay? When in 2006, Yosef determined and convinced Kibbutz Ketura that solar energy is the name of the day, and all we had to do is convince governments, 13 different ministries, and many other entities and authorities that it's worth doing in Israel. The original vision was always to establish the first commercial-sized solar field in Israel at Kibbutz Ketura. And here at Kibbutz Ketura, I think it took us 4 years rather than 8 months that we originally intended. We did indeed establish the first commercial solar field in Israel. This is an 80 dunam plot. It's a 5 megawatt entity or installation. There are 18,500 Chinese Suntech panels here, all placed 26 degrees to the south to ensure they absorb as much sunlight and energy as possibly available. 3 huge central Siemens inverters, about 9 million kilowatt hours of electricity are produced every year. Direct current pass through the inverters, turn into an indirect current, and they are connected to the national grid with a distribution line managed by the IEC through a box, a pillar at the entrance to the kibbutz. This project was the first. There were many challenges. We invested 100 million shekels in this project, but today we could probably do it for about 70 million shekels, but that was prehistory. Against that we enjoyed a rich tariff because it was early days, and every kilowatt hour we produce here, we are paid by the IEC about 1.5 shekels. This is a 13-point-something million shekel a year income for a project that is tariffed for the next 20 years, index linked, and we expect and hope after the first 20 years of development, we move a bit closer to it, we're going to carry on working here. The panels are guaranteed for 25 years. We reckon that after 30 years they'll continue working. Once we finish the tariff era, there's no reason why we would not continue to produce electricity and just supply the national grid at normative rates, whatever they will be 20 years down the road. If you take the past 20 years, the price of electricity in Israel has only gone up.
one step forward.
Now I'm in between. In between. the idea, of course, in Israel is that gas is going to kick in a big way and the price of electricity is going to go down. But between you and I, there's a 65 billion shekel debt the IEC has to write off first. So the fact that the price of electricity is going to go down is probably going to be many decades. Thank you. We fully leverage this flagship project to brand ourselves and give ourselves the market image that we were looking for. And we have since managed to develop another 10 projects, working at 100 megawatts of electricity. Obviously, the southern Arava is our home territory or turf, and we're now building at Yotvata, at Grofit, and at Elifaz projects. Across the road from here, we have received a tariff permit to build a 40 megawatt field. For us, solar, it's going to be called. We're not very good at the names, but it will work. Just beyond the date plantation, there's a 600 dönum plot that's been rezoned, and we are now in the process of financial close. We have 90 days from tariff permit to prove financial close. Quite a large amount of hundreds of millions of shekels will be invested in a 40 megawatt project. It will take us until the end of 2014 to hook up, because these smaller projects, you take your electricity and you hook up to the existing distribution line that's managed by the IEC. The larger projects, you go straight up to the high voltage national grid. And we have to build ourselves a substation, and we have to hook up to the grid, and it's going to take a couple of years of hard work. Together with that, we're developing projects in the Negev. Musa, who you'll be visiting shortly, was supposed to be a flagship Bedouin project for us. And we were on time to receive a quota, but it was a Bedouin project, and there were issues that the PUA weren't fully acquainted with, and they kicked us around a bit and wasted us a few months, and that cost us our place in the quota. But there's an additional quota that's been approved, appealed by the Ministry of Finance, the normal Israeli, let's go around in a circle for a half year and then finally reach the same result that we started with. But once that's done, we'll be building an 8-point-something megawatt project with Musa, and that will be our first of many Bedouin projects. Above and beyond that, we have another couple of 100 megawatts pipeline, and when the State of Israel gets a grasp on grid parity, what the grid parity tariff is, how the grid parity era will be managed, we're ready to go. Bless you. I hope you're not going to be sick after this. No. We have many challenges. It's been a very rough road. It's been pioneers in a pioneering country with a pioneering new enterprise, and anything that we thought could go wrong did go wrong. And still, this is 15 months after our minister inaugurated the field, and everything is working, and 3-point-something% above expected results are what we call our production ratio. Everything's working just fine, and it looks as if we've built a very good project. This is Siemens. Siemens knows how to work. Siemens does everything in a very German manner. These are cemented foundations against corrosion. This thing will last 50 years, 25 years, more than we need it, but it's going to be a good project for the full lifespan of the tariff. And what we're doing from now on is going to be even more cost effective and efficient, because we're learning from mistakes. Okay, we've learned numerous. Sorry, Yosef?
Make sure you leave time for the ambassador to
I've just about done it, okay? And it's fairly cold and it's very wet. We've learned a lot from errors, and everything we do from now on is going to be that much more effective and efficient. The market has turned very quickly from a rich market, a financial investment that shows wonderful results, to a very tight industry. And basically, those that survive this industry will get that extra 1.2% out of what they put into the ground, and will save a few $100,000 on each and every element, and it's become a very, very tight business. Nonetheless, we're prepared to do battle and going forward.
Great. Thank you. Well, I'll just say a couple things. One is, in the desert, every drop of rain is a blessing.
Yeah.
But there aren't very many of those. What there is a lot of sun.
Yeah.
So what you built here is the best and most innovative way to tap into that abundant resource, and to do it in a way that is profitable and is environmentally responsible, sustainable, and it's a great part of the revolution of renewable energy around the world. But especially at the front edge of the sphere here in Israel. and that's why we've gotten behind it. We consider Arava Power Company to be an American-Israeli product. We're very proud of American investors and American leadership, as well as Israeli leadership and innovation. And so our overseas private investment corporation, as you know, is making a contribution to expanding the project into the Negev. And I know it's also become a source of an Israeli technological export to other countries, other developing countries. And that's a great story of Americans and Israelis working together to spread these values of renewable energy, environmental responsible stewardship to other developing parts of the world that also have the abundant resources of sun but don't have the technology to take advantage of it. But I wish it were a sunnier day and we could really fully appreciate what you're doing here. But I know that every day this field is producing real output, and it's just the beginning. So thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, sure.
It's important to have a real diversification in our in energy resources. Obviously, we want to reduce the reliance on fossil fuels that are contributing to climate change. But at the same time, we know those are not going to go away immediately. But what we want to do is make sure that all the other possible resources, whether it's solar, whether it's biomass, whether it's wind, whether it's hydropower, are also being tapped so that we can make available in whatever part of the world you find yourself the most profitable, the most energy efficient, the most environmentally responsible resource. And we're going to need people like Yossi Abramowitz, we're going to need companies like the Arava Power Company leading the way.
And it might just be a coincidence that you're here today, the week after. But I just wanted to maybe talk about President Obama's vision and whether that can work in conjunction with Israel's renewable energy vision and the two countries working together.
Sure. It's definitely been a priority of President Obama's for many years that we not lose sight of the danger of the changing climate and that we take it upon ourselves as a responsibility to be responsible stewards of the environment and of the earth. And we know that fossil fuels contribute to that warming process. And we also know that there are renewable sources of energy that can help slow it down. Both he and our new Secretary of State, John Kerry, have devoted a lot of time and attention to that issue in their years in the United States Senate and now as President and Secretary of State. I think we'll see an increasing focus on it. Israel is one of the leaders in developing these green technologies. Solar power is one of them. So I think Israel stands to be a real partner in developing those technologies for its own use, but also for spreading throughout the world, especially. Yossi Abramowitz and David Rosenblatt and their colleagues at the Arava Power Company make us proud because they are an example of an American-Israeli company at the leading edge of the technology revolution that's going to bring renewable energy to the market in an affordable, profitable way, and it's going to help us fight the dangers of climate change. In the U.S. government, we're big fans of Yossi and big fans of the Arava Power Company.
Thank you again for coming. You weren't at the inauguration of the slightly wet field we visited before. You will be at the inauguration of the next field we're building across the road. At the inauguration, difficult word, the Israel Postal Authority issued a commemorative stamp for the occasion that we'd like to present to you.
Thank you.
And the Israel Coins Authority did even better, and there's a coin inside that commemorates the occasion, the first pioneering solar entity in Israel. It says inside, relive the past, preserve the present, ensure the future, and that's what we're all about.
I think David Ben-Gurion was the first Captain Sunshine, and you've got the next one. So.
Ours is even more dynamic than the first, but
Thank you.
Thank you very much.